Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Marlo and this is May in the Books, and today I'm going to show you the wrap up of April. I read 7 books this month, so that's less than last month. I'm a little bit disappointed, but also I was really busy doing other things than reading, and so yeah, unfortunately I didn't reach my goal of reading 2 books a week, but it's fine. I'm really in a reading mood right now, so I'm sure May will be better. So yeah, let's get started. The first book I read this month is the first book from the Gossip Girl series by Cicely von Ziegler. Is that what she's called? This book is not good, but I did think it was kind of funny. These girls like have some ruthless gossiping going on that's more harsh than in the show, which I like. But I have to add, I think the reason I kind of like the book is because of the show. Like, when they mention the characters, in my head, I already see these full characters with their quirks and their characteristics. And I don't think the book is doing a very good job of portraying realistic characters. But I'm doing it myself because I already know the characters. But it's a short book. It's easy. It makes you feel like a teen again. So for that, I definitely recommend it. I think I'll give it like 3 stars. Not because it's good, but it's enjoyable. I read Listen Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. This book has won like the fiction prize or like the historical prize from Goodreads. I'm not sure. So I had high expectations and I gave it 4 stars. This is a really good book, really good storytelling. I didn't really love the main character. Our main character, Elizabeth, is a chemist, but this book is played out in the 1960s, and of course that's like, you know, not really common. She gets pregnant, so that's the whole thing, and then she becomes a cook show host on TV. And I do love that. You know, I do love the whole vibes of all the like stay-at-home moms watching her on TV. Like, that part I really love. But she's kind of like, she cannot take a hint. She cannot like try to be better to get something out of someone. You know what I mean? For me, this character is very autism coded. I don't know if she is. So I give it 4 stars. It's a really good book. I do recommend it, definitely. So the next book I read is Lie With Me by Philippe Besson. I had really high expectations for this book because I saw great reviews, but it was, like, it's not a bad book. It has good writing. I read it quick. It was interesting, but the thing is, like, if you write a love story, and well, it's not really a love story, it's like tragic, but at the same time, like, where was the love? Like, I didn't really feel the connection between these two people. Like, that one person was just horrible. Like, I get that you could love someone who's horrible, so, you know, that's the thing. I'm not saying like it's bad, it's not bad, but like I'm not gonna be sad if I read like a tragic story about a character that I just don't care for at all. So for me, this was kind of like a 3.2 star read or something. Like, it was not bad, but what, like, I don't get the hype. Let's just say that. I have read many tragic gay love stories, so to call it, and I felt more connected with others. But I guess every time I read books like that, I'm kind of disappointed. So I don't know. That's a theme. I keep reading them, but I keep getting disappointed because the reviews are always so high, and I just don't get it. But yeah, the next book I read is Just Kids by Patti Smith. I didn't know much about her beforehand, so to read a memoir about someone you don't really know, that is a challenge. Well, it's not a challenge, but it's like the book itself really has to capture your interest, and it did that. I was loving how descriptive it was, and I listened to the music she mentioned in the book. I did like it. It was not my favorite book. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. It's definitely beautifully written, and it's definitely a love story for a person that I do admire, because there were things happening to her in her life and she didn't even write about that. She mostly just talked about Robert, and I just think it's beautiful. Someone can love you so much that they write a memoir basically about you and not themselves. I do think that's very wonderful, and it's a great way to transform into that time. It was also absolutely tragic how many people died and took their own lives that she was close with. I cannot imagine what that does to a person. It was definitely a very interesting story. So I think 3.5 stars is a good rating for that. Maybe 3.8 stars, I'm not sure. But it was a good book. The next book I read is Faust Fair by Hannah Kaplan. This book is about a girl who gets sexual assault at a party, and she wants to take revenge on them, so she is going to murder them. And at first I had a really hard time getting into this book. The writing style is definitely not my cup of tea. It's first person perspective. It's not like short sentences, like there's not much like world building or anything. But it is very different, because normally you don't get to see someone getting revenge, and I did definitely feel a rush throughout the middle to the end of the book. So I gave it 3.5 stars, because there were definitely things I didn't like about it, such as the writing style, and it's high fantasy, because it's not realistic how things go down in this book. But yeah, it was definitely a good reading experience when I got to the halfway mark. And then the next book I read was She Drives Me Crazy. I listened to the audiobook. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I did not like this book. Like, I give it 3 stars because I didn't like it, but there was like nothing really wrong with it. It's just like, it's not for me, right? I just think it's really cute when you're like 13 and you're gay and you're just like, I want to read something that makes me feel like, you know, main characters are gay. Like, that's great that is there. That's why I read it, because I'm not really interested in reading YA romances, like straight romances. Sometimes I read queer YA romances and then still it's not hitting the mark. Like, these girls, like at some point they're in bed together and they're sleeping and they're like, oh, don't touch me. I'm like, what? These girls are like, how old are they? 16 or something? Like, girl, like I get it, you're gay, so it's like different, but at the same time, I don't know, I just felt like all the parents were so nice. There was no conflict in anything, and there was no judgment, there was nothing, like, it was just, these people were just kind of cringy and annoying. And I'm not saying it's a bad book, but it's not for me. I should just stop reading this genre. That's my take from this. I'm not saying don't read that book, because I guess it's a fine book, but it's just, I didn't get anything from it. No, I didn't know. No. And then the last book I read was The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. I just finished this yesterday, so I'm not sure what I want to rate this. This was a good book, but also, like, it's a lot. Like, this person has to figure out who murdered Evelyn Hardcastle, so he wakes up in a different body every day, and it's the same day every day, as long as he doesn't solve the murder. So there's a lot going on, a lot of like different timelines, different people with the same host, different bodies with the same host in them, meeting each other, and then other people, and then like there's so much happening here that it's really hard to finish up this book and leave you impressed. I think, like, for me, like, some parts I really liked at the end, and some parts I'm like, I don't know. I think I should give this book like 3.5 stars, maybe, because this is just really ambitious. I don't want to give it lower than that, because I'm like, wow, you did that, right? But it was a big book. It took me a long time. This book is the reason I didn't finish more books. Because yeah, it's like more than 500 pages. It's a brain scratching book. So if you're into murder mystery parties kind of thing, this is definitely a recommendation. If you just like to read and be chill, don't read this. My head is spinning just thinking about everything that happened in this book. So yeah, overall, this was an okay reading month. I just had some disappointing books and just some mad books. And then my favorite book of this month was Lessons in Chemistry. Oh, is this my first 4-star read of this year? Yeah, we're not doing so well. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please leave a like, comment and subscribe. If you have book recommendations, always leave them down below. I would love to find some 5-star reads, please. So yeah, and by the way, if you liked any of these books I just mentioned and I gave it a lower review, don't get mad at me, please. I am critical and I just don't feel I don't love books that fast, so take it with a grain of salt. I'm not here like I'm not here handing out 5 stars for nothing. Like, I gave like 2 books 5 stars of all the books I've read in my life. So, you know. So, the reason I read 9 books last month is because I did a reading challenge. So, I definitely need to do a reading challenge this month so that I get more reads than I did in April. So, if you want to see that, definitely subscribe. Shut up! If you have any ideas for a good reading challenge, let me know. And definitely subscribe if you want to see what reading challenge I do next. Okay, bye! Want to see what reading challenge I do next. Shut up! Definitely subscribe if you want to see Matroos! Subscribe if you want to see what reading challenge I... Matroos!